Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to each one of you joining from India and other parts of the world. First, I wish you the very happy New Year 2021. Hope you have enjoyed the New Year celebration. Today, we are on the sixth session of our biomedical engineering training course, which is we are conducting with the joint in conjunction with the Force Biomedical Group. The today's session is on non-invasive blood pressure. Just for the recall, this training course, we as a concept, we are first we are talking about the concept of the agenda of this training program is first we will talk about the 25 minutes on the concept and 25 minutes practical we will do and like we'll talk about troubleshooting and last we will have some question and answers. So till now we have covered 5 sessions which were on the defibrillations, resuscitation, defibrillation basics, advanced, electrocardiogram, pulse oximeter. Okay, so today we are on the 8th Jan and it's a non-invasive blood pressure monitoring topic today. The next session we will conduct on 22nd of Jan 2021. So it will be on the capnograph, ETCO2 monitoring. Then we will have a supplies and accessories management in the hospital. Then we'll talk about the healthcare IT trends, and lastly we'll have a quiz and question and answers session with the certification. So my name is Tarun Gupta. I'm the host, and I will be conducting the first session today. Unfortunately, it was going to conduct by Mr. Mohan, so he got stuck somewhere. So I will be conducting the first session. So this is on the non-invasive blood pressure monitoring, the theoretical part, and then we have a second topic which is where we will discuss about the troubleshooting and consultation for VME, and it will be conducted by Mr. Mukesh Thani, who is a customer support manager in Nihon Code in India. Then at last we will have a question and answer session. So let's start with the today's topic. So there are topics which we will discuss in my presentation. So I will discuss about the blood pressure monitoring, what is the blood pressure monitoring and its measurement methods, what are the modes of NIV measurement. Then we will talk about the pulse width triggered NIVP and the linear inflation method, which are the new and unique method of NIVP measurement available within Nihon Koden. So let's start with the blood pressure. Okay, so we should know what is the blood pressure and what's the concept behind measuring the NIVP or IVP. So blood pressure is the force which makes the blood flow throughout the body. Okay, and when our heart pumps the blood, it pumps the blood with a high pressure. Okay, and that pressure is like for the ventricle. Let's talk about the ventricle here. So when the blood is pumped out from the ventricles, okay, at that time it is forcefully pushed and to the vessels. So that pressure is called systolic pressure, and when the ventricles are getting relaxed, so that pressure is called diastolic pressure. That's called lowest blood pressure. Okay, and blood pressure is very important to make the blood flow throughout the body. If you guys remember the Ohm's law in the electronics, so Ohm's law says V is equal to IR, right? So same way V is the voltage here. So you can say the plus high voltage, low voltage. Similarly, if we apply the Ohm's law here in our cardiac hemodynamics, so BP, high BP and low BP, or heart is maintaining the high pressure, low pressure. Then the cardiac output here is like the current which is flowing, that's the blood which is flowing toward the vessels, and the resistance SVR is the resistance which is provided by the vessels, okay, to the blood flow. So the blood vascular resistance, the vessel resistance, which is pressure, blood pressure is dependent on the vascular resistance also. Okay. So when the doctor is, they are doing the hemodynamic management of the patient, so they are considered, okay, they are very, they want to know about what is the blood pressure of the patient, what is the cardiac output, and the vessel resistance. Okay, so these are three components which are very important for the hemodynamic management. Okay, the BP is measured in the mmHg or in the kilopascal. So there are the methods for blood pressure measurement. The indirect method or the direct method. So indirect methods are the non-invasive blood pressure monitoring methods. So they can be stethoscopy method or the oscillometric method. Then the direct method is where we are inserting the catheter inside the patient body. Okay, so this is called as invasive blood pressure monitoring. So this is usually done in the critical care area where the transducer is catheter is inserted inside the patient artery or vein, and we attach one pressure transducer and we measure the pulse waveform and along with the values of blood pressure. So let's today's topic we are limiting to non-invasive blood pressure monitoring. So let's discuss about the NIBP. NIBP is very simple to measure. It's very easy and it's a non-invasive method of measuring the blood pressure. So its advantage is very easy, but it's a disadvantage also is there. We cannot measure the venous pressure. When we are attaching the cuff to the patient upper arm, so we are measuring the pressure from the brachial artery. Okay, so we can measure the pressure from only one side, like from the arm, brachial artery, or we can measure the pressure from the thigh, like from the femoral artery. So there are two sides for measuring the blood pressure from NIBP. So if in case we cannot measure the venous pressure, so those are the disadvantages of NIBP. Okay, those are the limitations of NIBP. And when the patient is very hypotensive, the blood pressure is very low, in those cases NIBP may not give you the value. Okay, the pulse waveform is very less. So in that case, we need to doctor in the clinician in the hospital, they need to go to the invasive pressure monitoring methods. Okay. So what are the measurement methods for NIBP? There are the two, the two methods are there. One is the stethoscopy method, which you can say is it's a manual method of measuring the blood pressure by listening the Krotkoff sound. The second method is the oscillometric method. So it is measured by the machines. So here we are, a machine is measuring the oscillations which are generated within the cuff. Okay, so we'll talk about these two methods now. So stethoscopy method you may have seen in the clinics of chemist shops or in a clinician's room. So this is a manual method. Here the doctor is applying the cuff to the patient upper arm, and they are measuring the they are listening to, and they are including the basically the artery, and slowly they are deflating the pressure on that cuff, and they are measuring the cuff sound. So if you see the principle of stethoscopy, here it's a pulse waveform which is in the which is there in the patient artery. Okay, so we are occluding the artery and we are slowly increasing, deflating the cuff. The first sound which appears, okay, which doctor listens from the stethoscope is the Krotkoff sound 1, which we call it as Krotkoff sound. The first sound is the systolic pressure. Okay, and when the sounds get disappear, that pressure is called diastolic pressure. So this is a manual method of measuring the BP. So it's why the doctor is listening to the sound, the blood pressure. There is a request from Mohammed to repeat to backslide. I think he want to know about these two methods. So Mohammed, this is a stethoscopy method and it's oscillometry. I will take your question later on and we will discuss, question answer we conduct. So in a stethoscopy principle, I repeat again, the first sound after we start deflating the cuff, the first sound which is called Krotkoff sound 1 is the maximum blood pressure, which is called as systolic pressure. The last sound of when the Krotkoff sound getting disappear, that sound we that pressure at that sound we consider as diastolic pressure. Okay. Now talking about the oscillometric method, which is measured by the medical equipment. Okay, so here we are calculating the oscillations. So now you see here we are also occluding the artery, and you can see the pulse, which is the blood which is moving in the artery is getting occluded. When we start deflating the cuff slowly in the uh, machines also, in the medical machines also, the principle is same. First we occlude the artery by inflating the cuff to the maximum level, then we will slowly deflate. Here also in the oscillometry method, we are occluding the artery by inflating the cuff, and we are deflating the cuff slowly. Okay, so in this method, if you see, when we start occluding deflating the cuff, okay, when we start deflating the cuff, the blood which is occluded starts moving, okay, in the artery. When the pulse waveform reaches the maximum level, that pressure is called mean arterial pressure, okay, and the 50% before we calculate as a systolic pressure, and the 50% after that, mean arterial pressure is calculated, that is the diastolic pressure. Okay, this is how in gross systolic diastolic is measured in the oscillometric method. Okay. The criteria, actually the algorithm for measuring the systolic diastolic is differ from company to company. From each manufacturers have a different algorithm for measuring the VP, systolic diastolic. But in the gross picture, the first mean arterial pressure is measured, and 50% before it's a systolic pressure, and 50% after that is the diastolic pressure. Now, what are the modes of measurement of NIBP in the patient monitors? Okay, as the topic is based on critical care products, so what are the modes of measurement available in the patient monitors? So first is a manual mode. So this is a start stop. Okay. Second is the interval periodic recording or auto recording. Then we have a stat mode, then we have sim mode, and we will discuss about pulse width transit time trigger measurement. So in the manual recording, it's a very simple method. You just have to attach the cuff to the patient arm, and have to press the start button. Okay, and you can see on the patient monitor screen that the measurement mode is manual. Okay, so by this the monitor will take the reading only once. Okay, so it's a manual recording, and whenever they require the VP, they press the start button, and the nursing staff or clinician in the ICU, they press the start button. Okay, and they, in the case the cuff is inflating and they don't want, they can press the button again to stop it. Then we have a periodic recording method, which we also call as a auto recording, or we can call it as a interval recording. Here we are setting the interval time. Okay, so when we press the interval, we can set the interval of 1 minute, 2 minute, 2.5 minute, 5 minute, 10 minutes. So there options are available in 8 hours. So depending on the patient criticality, the patient condition, the clinician, the staff in the hospital, they can set the interval time. So different hospitals, they call this method as they call it by the different names. So some call it by the periodic recording, some call it by auto recording, or some by the interval. Here, when the first starts, once what is the method of taking the interval is like, once you need to first you need to set the interval, like 5 minutes interval you have set. Then you have to press the start button. Okay, then after the first reading, the 5 minutes interval time, the second measurement will start. Okay, and after each interval of 5 minutes, the monitor will take the reading. Okay, then we have a stat mode in the monitors. Basically, in the stat mode, we are setting the it's a program way of measuring the blood pressure. Okay, so it's basically it's a one step further of your interval settings. In the interval recording, we can have only one type of interval. We can set only one, interval time. In the stat mode, we can set two stages. Okay. So here we are measuring the blood pressure continuously. Stat means when we are measuring the blood pressure continuously. One reading, then second reading, then third reading, then fourth reading, in the continuous. Okay. So here we are setting the two stages. Like first stage we can set for stat, or we can set for 1 minute interval for 5 or 10 minutes. In the second stage, after 5 minutes for the stage 1 operation time, it will move to stage 2. In the stage 2, we can set manual, we can set 1, 2, 2.5, 5, 10. So these options are available for the second stage. Okay. So we are setting the two-stage program for NIP measurement. So this is required in case of when they are giving some drugs to the patient, or they are intubating the patient at a time, clinician, they require the blood pressure continuously. Okay. So at the time of intubation, they will measure the, like say intubation takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes, let's say. So 10 minutes, the monitor will take continuous reading of BP. Okay. Once intubation has been done in the OT, the monitor itself will move to second stage. Okay. So this programming already by default some settings are there in the patient monitor, and anesthetists or clinician, they can do programming in the patient monitor of their own also. The customizable settings. Then we have a sim mode, also called a simulation mode. So this is available with the Nihon Kohden monitors. In the OT settings, in the OR, operation theater, when we install the monitor in the operation theater. So when we are giving the regional anesthesia, or we are giving the, you can say, spinal block to the patient, when we are making the patient regional anesthesia we are giving, and where we are making the patient lower body to get relaxed. Okay. So at that time when we give the regional anesthesia, so there is a side effect of regional anesthesia. It can cause patient go into hypotensive. So patient may blood pressure may go down. So it is very important to measure the BP at that time. So here also we are setting the two stage, so stage 1 and the stage 2. So here we can set the operation time 5, 10 or 15 minutes, and we can set the interval for 1 minute, 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes. The options are available in the monitors. Then the stage 2, after the first stage, the monitor will go to the second stage. Okay. So here, as per the settings, like 2, 2.5, 5 minutes or any other setting, the monitor will take the reading in that interval. So you can see from the example here, we have a stage 1 for 15 minutes set, and the monitor will take the reading after each 2-minute interval. After 15 minutes, the monitor will itself go to stage 2. So stage 2 we are setting for 5 minutes, then monitor will take 5 minutes interval recording. Okay. So if you guys have any question, please put on the chat box. So these were the some conventional mode of measuring the BP, the patient monitors. Now I'm coming to the Nihon Kohden proprietary, Nihon Kohden advanced technologies. So in the BP monitoring, so this is the pulse wave trigger NIP measurement. Okay. So we study about, we talk about the interval recording. Okay. So it's a, one way ahead of interval recording. I'll tell you how. In the interval recording, we are setting the, 5 minutes or 30 minutes interval time. Okay. Now in between, if patient blood pressure suddenly, falls or suddenly rise up, the patient monitor will not be able to, conventional patient monitor will not be able to measure BP at that time. With the pulse rate transit time BP measurement, if there is any sudden change of blood pressure, the monitor will itself measure the BP at that moment. Whether the patient BP has fallen down or rise up, the monitor will automatically measure the BP at that time. Okay, it will not wait for the set interval time. So before that only it will trigger the BP measurement. How it works now, when heart pumps the blood, okay, so it reaches from the ECG peak of R wave. When we are calculating the pulse traveling time here, so PWT stands for pulse wave transit time, and we are calculating the time from the peak of the R wave and the rise time of the SpO2. Okay, so this is the time when time taken by the pulse to travel from the heart to the finger. Okay, now in case patient blood pressure has rise up, so in that case the time which the monitor was which the pulse was taking will go down. Okay, BP is more, the time taken by the pulse to travel from the heart to the finger will get less. Similarly, if patient blood pressure has gone down, it will take more pulse will take more time to reach from the heart to the peripheral, to the pulse transit time at that moment will increase. Okay, so this is the principle we have used, we have applied on patient monitors. So whenever there is a sudden change in pulse transit time of the patient, which is calculated from the ECG and SpO2, whenever there is a sudden change of blood, pulse transit time, the monitor triggers the NIP measurement. Okay, so here we have given one example. This is here we are having the conventional mode of measuring the BP. Let's say we have set the time of 5 minutes interval. So usually the monitor will take the reading at 5 minutes interval only. In case patient blood pressure has changed, okay, there is a fall in the BP. The monitor will not measure the BP, at that time. The monitor will take the reading at the 5-minute interval only. Okay. Now we say here we have set the alarm limits. Monitor has we have set the alarm limit of 5 minutes. Monitor will take the reading. If you see if patient blood pressure has gone down, then a lower limit, we will miss it. Okay, in the conventional monitors. In the Nihon Koda monitors, whenever there is sudden change of BP, you can see here in this diagram, in this picture, in between the 5 minutes interval, if there was a sudden change of blood pressure was there, the monitor will take the reading. Okay. So this is how in all monitors, whenever there is sudden change of blood pressure, it takes the reading automatically. So this was about the pulse width transit time trigger measurement. Then there is one more technology which is available with Nihon Koda monitors. So it's a linear inflation technology. It's a linear inflation measurement method of measuring the BP. Earlier, other slides we studied about the conventional method, which is a step deflation method. Here we will talk about the inflation method. Okay, linear inflation technology. Okay, so with the linear inflation technology, it makes the measurement rapid, it's gentle to the patient, and it's reliable. Okay, so you can see in the diagram how it works. The pink one is a step deflation method. Here the cuff is inflated to the highest inflation pressure. Okay, because we are occluding the artery, so we are inflating to the highest preset value of inflation. Okay, the cuff is inflated to highest pressure, then slowly it is deflated. This is called step deflation method. But in the linear inflation method, the inflation will take more time, cuff will take more time in inflating. Okay, when systolic pressure is measured, the monitor is measuring the pressure while inflating. Okay, when it measures a systolic, it suddenly deflates the cuff, and at this time it measures a systolic and the diastolic also. This is the new technology of measuring the blood pressure. This is a linear inflation method of measuring the BP. So it makes the reading faster than the step deflation. So we have one study like on a 64 OT patient in the 323 measurements, we found that it is 20 seconds shorter than the normal step deflation method. It only takes about 10 to 15 to 20 seconds for measuring the BP. It is gentle on the patient. The maximum pressure you can see is less in the linear inflation. So it is about 36 mmHg less than the step deflation method. And it accuracy we have also compared. It is, equivalent to the step deflation method recordings. So this is about the technologies which is available with the non-coded INIVP and also sometimes other modes of NIVP. So if you guys have any questions, so please put on the drop chat box or question section. So thank you. Now I'm giving the presenter rights to Mr. Mukesh. Over to you.
अब इसी से बोलूँ ना.
Thank you, Tarun, for a nice presentation. Thank you, Tarun, for a nice presentation. Now we have seen the vital parameter NIBP for patient who is having issue hypertension or hypotension. So this is the parameter we measure through patient monitor, and obviously this parameter measurement has certain problems we face while monitoring NIBP at the end user. So we do the troubleshooting based on our technical information. So the troubleshooting could be the cuff site selection, the operation issue, the cleaning and disinfecting the product, the NIBP cuff, because it is used on multiple patients. This is the variety of size for depend on the patient arm. So it is infant size, child, or a small adult whose arm is thin, the large adult whose arm is thick, or a thigh who has no upper limbs. So such measurements can be taken with a variety of cuffs, as you can see in the image. So this can also be represented through graphical form with the cuff width as well as arm circumference in centimeters. And the range is shown in the x-axis. The cuff width shows the y-axis in centimeter, according to American Heart Association standards, AHA standards. For neonates, we use disposable cuffs because there is chances of infection. So we use a disposable cuff recommended for neonates. And similarly, they have also a range of arm circumference with the width of cuff. To select an appropriate cuff size, the ideal cuff width is at least 40% of the arm circumference. You can see the cuff as well as the arm circumference in the image. The W shows the width of the cuffs and L shows the arm circumference. So when you keep the width of the cuff over the arm circumference, you can see the appropriate cuff size to be used on that particular patient. As we can see in the previous slides, there are various sizes of the cuff available. The cuff is very important sensor. Please use the proper cuff that matches the thickness of the arm. If you use a smaller cuff, the blood pressure will be higher than the actual one. So we need to be careful while selecting the NIBP cuff on the patient. Here we can see the location position of the cuff where we do fix over the upper limb of patient. So if the clavicle side is the proximal of the hand and the palm is the distal side of the patient arm, the cuff should be around 1 to 2 centimeter proximal from the elbow, where doctor placed the stethoscope to listen the sound. So it should be on the brachial artery. There is an artery mark which should be put on the brachial artery, which you can see in the image. Secondly, the cuff is tied in such a way that your 2 finger can go easily inside that. If it is tied loosely, you may feel a higher blood pressure, or so these 2 fingers can go easily while fixing the wrapping on the patient arm. It should not be too tightly or too loose. Cuff is connected with the patient monitor through a tube called air hose. Air hose is the tube which carry the air pressure from patient monitor to the bladder inside the cuff. So it has also a variety of size depending on the requirement, the location, the position from the patient monitor to the patient bed. So you can choose the air hose length. There may be certain operation issues while measuring NIBP. As we seen in the slide presented by Tarun, in that there he explained the manual mode, auto mode, and the stat mode. So depending on the treatment or depending on the patient blood pressure measurement, we need to choose the manual mode, auto mode, or stat mode. As it defines the manual mode, in which every you can set the interval for 1 minute, 2 minutes, but you have to press the button to start the manual mode. But in case of auto mode, it takes automatically inflation depending on the interval set inside the machine settings. And the stat mode also, you have seen that if it is set for 5 minutes, so in 5 minutes it will take continuous NIBP measurement. So these are the operation issues which may face while taking NIBP measurement. These settings that's why it's very much useful before going for a patient hookup for NIBP. Similarly, we may have operational issues while the hardware failure. So it has an hardware of NIBP pump motor. As you can see in the image, the white portion is the pump, and backside the metal portion is a motor. So this pump and motor is the complete assembly, which creates an pressure through air hose and inflating the bladder inside the cuff. So this part is a mechanical part, and it is to be taken care for the mode which you choose. If you choose an auto mode, just be careful that in auto mode, the patient should be connected. If the patient is not connected, unnecessarily the motor will run, and it may damage the motor functioning, the diaphragm inside the motor pump. So before setting the auto mode, just check whether the patient requires the auto mode and what is the time interval set. Because we have seen in many cases, the patient is not lying, but the monitor is continuously working in an auto mode, and continuously inflating, deflating happens. So it should be careful handle for the auto mode. This motor is connected to the analog board inside the machine. If you have opened the patient monitor, there is an analog board, there is a digital board, power board. of the machine. In the previous sessions, we have seen the internal diagram for these boards. So this this NIBP pump motor has a function to just inflate the air inside the NIBP bladder of bladder. So there could be some other issues related to the functioning of non-functioning of NIBP. It could be the air leakage inside the air hose, because the connector, as you can see on the right hand side, it could be damaged or it is broken. The air hose leakage could be due to needle insertion during treatment, like if the doctor is treating the patient with some medicine through syringe on the patient. As you can see that in the previous slide, the needle is being put inside the patient elbow. So that needle can damage the bladder of the cuff, or it can damage the air hose also. It puts a small insertion and the air can leak through that hole. The third possibility of air leakage is due to the NIBP pump you have seen in the previous slide is connected with the tube and the sensors on the analog board. That tube or sensors maybe came out due to high pressure. So you need to open the monitor before going for a secondary check. So there are some warning messages I would like to highlight here. Is if the patient has some bleeding disorder or a coagulation, the NIBP measurement should be avoided and the treatment for that should be taken on a priority. Or there could be a hemorrhage or a circulatory disorder by thrombus. The clinician can easily make out that, and the necessary action they will take it. There may be some NIBP measurement incorrect measurement because of the following reason. Either the electrosurgical unit is being used nearby, or there could be a body movement of the patient, or there could be a very small pulse that pulse cannot be detected through the oscillometric technique, or that could be many arrhythmias, or that could be a vibration on the bed, or there is maybe a rapid change in the pressure, or maybe during the CPR, the NIBP measurement could be incorrect. So in that case, if the patient is in ambulance, the patient bed should be stable. And if the patient is in ICU, the patient should not be moving when the NIBP measurement is taken through oscillometric technique. There is always cleaning required for the multiple use reusable cuffs. So to clean that cuff, use the mild detergent or a water solution in a ratio of 1:9 and rinse it for some time. Always follow the process by the manufacturer as per the instruction. Do not use brush or a sharp brush or a Scotch-Brite kind of thing to clean the cuff, as it may damage the velcro or cloth of the cuff. Remove the bladder before cleaning the cuff or before wiping the cuff into the water, as it could damage the bladder also. The primarily thing, do not use the ethyl alcohol. It could be harsh over the NIBP cuff, and wipe a durable one-piece blood pressure cuff, cable, and the pressure hose with a cloth damp with disinfectant, which is approved by the manufacturer in the manual. Also, do not immerse the hose or allow air dry thoroughly before its next use for the next patient, because this is a reusable cuff and reusable cuffs need to be taken care very carefully. So it is very much required to disinfect and clean the NIBP cuff. Again, I would like to say that the equipment should be serviced by qualified service personnel. In case of neon cordon, please call toll-free number or a customer support mail ID for any complaint or any issues. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mukesh sir. Thank you for your presentation on troubleshooting. So now let's start the question and answers session. So I can see some questions on the chat box and the Q&A section. So let's start with the questions from the chat box. Question from Vijay B. Instead of periodic NIVP measurement, how about continuous NIV measurement? Is there any issue relating for continuous measurements? See, if you're talking about NIV measurements, so we are touching the cuff over to the patient artery, patient arm. So it can be taken, in the interval time. We need to give the time for the artery, to the supply the blood to your hand also, okay, to the peripheral. So if we continuously start measuring the BP, okay, so we'll not be able to supply the body, blood to our peripherals. So that will damage the tissues in the peripheral. Okay, like in the cases, in this case we have a hand, so tissues may get damaged if we continuously measure the NIV measurement. Okay, that is why in the stat mode we only take it for 5 minutes and maximum 10 minutes. We cannot measure it continuously. Okay, if you are talking about in case of arterial pressure, where we are catching inserting a catheter, in that case we can measure the BP continuously. Okay, NIV measurements are intermittent recording, and in the arterial pressures they are arterial pressure mounting, the direct method, that is the continuous measurement of BP. The question is from Jiroish. Can we use IPA to clean the cuff? So I will,
as I mentioned, alcohol could be harsh over the cloth of the cuff. So you need to check. IPA can be used, but ethyl alcohol is not recommended. But IPA, you need to check what is the alcohol content. If the content is less than 30%, you can use IPA also to clean the cuff.
Thank you, sir. It is a question from Mr. Vedant. What we do when cuff inflating is not stopped at a particular pressure point? See, there is a limit set in the monitor. Okay, like for the adult patient, the preset setting is there, like 180 mmHg. The cuff will inflate up to 180 mmHg. In the case of child, there's a by default settings is there for 140 mmHg. So cuff will inflate for 140 mmHg. Okay. So you have
one more thing I would like to add. If there is a inflation, continuous inflation because the defect inside the machine. So the limit for the high pressure limit is set up to 300 mmHg. So after 300 mmHg, the motor get cut off. So so that it cannot damage the cuff or it cannot hurt the patient also. So this is called a high pressure cutoff. So why there is a difference in BP reading while sitting and lying down position? So from Sanjay. From Sanjay. So yeah, obviously there is a difference in lying down position and sitting position and walking position. As you know, when you sit, the heart pumping may be different, and when you lie down, the heart pumping may be different. When you are moving or you are doing any activity, the heart pump is different. So you feel the difference in the pressure also.
Thank you. The question from Mr. Patrick. When the patient is hypoperfused, can we be able to read his or her blood pressure? The hypoperfuse means patient will have a low perfusion, means the pulse waveform is less. So we are able to measure the BP to some extent. The patient is very low perfusion state. So in that stage, we call that stage hypovolemic shock, or patient using a septic shock. So in those cases, the clinician, they apply the arterial pressure. Okay? So NIP measurement, all non-invasive technology has some limitations. So when the patient is very hyperperfused, so in those times, we're not able to measure the reading from NIP. So clinician, they need to go to the invasive blood pressure monitor. The question from Mr. Bashi, am not able to understand. What could be the case with a patient monitor that will display and after some time its screen goes dark?
So I think Mr. Bashi want to say that the NIVP reading goes dark. It is not a screen go dark, but the NIVP reading which was measured earlier go dark. So this shows the reference to the next NIVP measurement. So it is go dark, that it is not a current reading, it is the previous reading which was made on the previous side in the past. So that's why it shows the dark. It is not a screen, it is only the NIVP reading go dark.
Question from Mr. Arun. NIP measurement taken from artery or venous pressure? Arun, we are measuring the NIP measurement from artery, from the brachial artery. Okay. So I showed you one slide. What different advantages and disadvantages of NIP. So NIP we are measuring from only one or two sides of the body, either it is from the brachial artery or from the femoral artery when we test the thigh cup. So we are not measuring the venous pressure from NIP. Venous pressure is measured by, in the case with the catheter, with the invasive blood pressure monitor. The question is from Vedant. Does any effect on heart and artery vein when we measure BP continuously?
So when the cuff is wrapped over the artery and you measure the NIBP, so there is an occult in the, as Mr. Tarun has explained in his presentation, there is an occult. So that occult cannot be for a longer time, as it can be discomfort to the patient. So for a instant, for a moment, that BP measurement is okay, but for continuous BP measurement, it could uncomfortable to the patient.
When adult mode, we taking NICU baby reading is not coming. See, in our monitor, like there is always some safety measurements are taken care in the monitor. Okay, there are some guidelines. Are there? The patient monitoring manufacturers, good patient monitoring manufacturers, they there's some safety mechanism is there in the monitor. So for NIVP, for NICU, like so the air hose in Nihongo monitor is different. Okay, so the normal air hose, the adult air hose, child air hose will not work for for the neonatal baby. Okay, so for neonatal babies, so we have a first it is measured by the disposable cups. Okay, and when we attach the air hose of which measures it is applicable for the neonatal patient. only in that time the monitor will take the reading for minutes. The other air hose will not work for minutes. Question from Mr. Patrick. You can fix a new BP cuff to the patient monitor and still gives loose cuff error. What might be the problem in such a case?
So when you replace the cuff and you fix a new cuff on the patient monitor and it still gives loose cuff error. So it could be caused that the patient arm may be a smaller size. So you have to choose, as we mentioned, the particular appropriate size cuff for BP measurement.
Question from Vedant. Sir, can you repeat PWTT mode? Sure, Vedant. The PWTT stands for pulse wave transit time. Okay. So here we are calculating the time from the ECG, the peak of R wave, and the SP2 rise time. Okay. So we are calculating this time continuously in our monitors. So in the case like now you see we are measuring the time taken by the pulse to travel from the heart to the finger. In case the patient blood pressure has gone down, the time which was pulse was taking earlier, it will increase. Okay. In the case of blood pressure going up, rising, like systolic was earlier systolic was 120, now the patient's systolic is 140. What happens? The pulse traveling time will get shorter. So we have a mechanism in our monitor, like 15 millisecond default setting is there. Is in case there is any change in the pulse 15 milliseconds of pulse transit time, the monitor will take automatic reading of BP. It will take it automatically. Okay, so this is the advanced technology we have in our patient monitors. The patient monitor don't have to wait for the next interval time. Whenever there is a blood pressure, it will trigger the BP reading. Now moving to the question and A section. Question from Vamsi Krishnan Naini. Is there any more advanced technologies we can expect from NIVP measurement? Vamsi, I think in the Nihon Kodan, we have advanced technologies available. Like in the, if you see the conventional modes, so in those we have only manual recording. You may have find the auto recording is there, and you may find the stat recording. So in the Nihon Kodan monitors, you have a SIM mode, we have a pulse width transit time recording is there, figure measurement. Then we have a INIVP linear inflation technology also for BP measurement. So I think we are the one who are providing the most advanced technologies for the NIVP measurement. Then there are other things are also available like ambulatory BP measurement and so those I'm not going to explain. Time is limited. So this question from Mr. Mohammed. Can you please discuss the INIVP again? See, Mohammed, you can find more about the INIVP. So it's a linear inflation technology. So here we are, in the step deflation technology, we are suddenly inflating the cup and we are slowly deflating the cup. And at that time, when we are deflating, we are measuring the BP. In the case of INIVP, during linear inflation, during the inflation time only, we are measuring the systolic diastolic of the patient and the blood pressure of the patient. Okay. So the inflation time is increased, and during the inflation time only, we are measuring the blood pressure of the patient. So more details you can find on the on the Nihon Kodan website and on the YouTube also. Okay. Question from Mr. Mazi. What is the cause of NIV motor that keep pumping without any measurement showing on the monitor?
So, Mr. Abdul Ahmed, I mentioned that the third leakage point in which the tubing over the NIBP motor is being disconnected. and hence the motor is still running, but there is no measurement on the monitor. So the tubing is maybe kink or maybe removed from that place.
Question from Mr. Mohammed again. What can I do when monitor gives a weird reading? Weird reading. Very high, for example, or very low?
So first of all, we need to confirm whether the reading is high, weird, or very low. So how you will check? So you can check with the stethoscope method, or if still you find that readings were not were weird readings, just you need to check the settings, the patient type, the cuff appropriate size is used or not, or there is any problem in the settings.
Thank you, sir. Question from Amir. What are modes of NIVP and benefits of each type? We discussed about some modes of NIVP, but the manual mode. Then we discussed about auto mode. Then we discussed about the start mode, saving mode. So I think I would suggest to go through this lecture video. Okay, once we upload on the YouTube, we'll announce. And I can see some message, some question and answer, some messages are there when we get the this lectures video. So we'll soon announce. Okay, we will upload on the YouTube channel for Nihon Gurun India, or it will upload on the Fourth Biomedical Group YouTube channel. Okay, so you can find these videos again. Let's take one or two questions more. Next question from Vijay. Can we use other fluids instead of air to fill up cuff that creates pressure? I meant that if any other fluids are considered good, then they. So first, what's the problem with the air? Okay, so it's a freely available because fluids, it can it can create more pressure.
Yeah, that fluid which you mentioned, we use in invasive blood pressure, because here the sensor is used through oscillometric principle, and in case of fluid, the principle is a transducer. We use the transducer to convert mechanical energy into electrical energy, and that fluid you might be talking about, invasive blood pressure, we use that. So we cannot use any fluid other than the air for NIBP measurement.
Thank you, sir. Question from Shem. What is the cause of NIP pump when it attempts to start but fails, or the pump is running and no air is being generated?
So in case of NIBP pump not inflating, or inflate for some certain pressure, so the cause for defect is NIBP pump motor set. Because as I mentioned in my presentation, the pump diaphragm could be damaged inside the NIBP pump assembly. So you need to replace NIBP pump motor.
Thank you, sir.
So how accurate will be oscillometric method when compared to oscillatory method? In oscillatory method is the very old method which we use through stethoscope and mercury, which is now discontinued. But the oscillometric methods, we can use it anywhere, at home, in hospitals. So oscillometric is a standard method which is being used nowadays, because oscillatory method needs some skills to measure the NIBP.
So you need a lot of good hearing capability to listen to the sound, which is produced by the artery. short cuff sound. So if you miss, one or two sound, you may miss, calculate the NIBP reading. So I think oscillometric methods are more, accurate because it's being monitored by the patient monitors. Question from Vedant. Same monitor you use for neonatal? Yes, Vedant. Same monitor you can use for neonatal. You just need to apply the different air hose and you need to apply the different, cuff type. So for neonates, we mostly use the disposable, cups. So better. Question from Mr. Vijay. Eager to know, without applying any pressure to cuff, can we measure NIBP? See, it's the principle of measuring the blood pressure. We have to apply some, cuff pressure we need to maintain artery, into occlude the artery. Okay, this is the method of principle of measuring the BP, NIBP. So we need to apply the pressure. Okay, so thank you so much. I think we have answered, most of the questions of yours from both chat and discussion and raise section. So thank you very much. In case you have any questions, so you can send on the or email. Okay. Thank you so much for joining and for listening to your, questions. Thank you. Thank you, Mukesh sir.